he was asking, like, is there any actual value to when they do a flip and, like, the ball touches the ground for a throw-in? And I was like, no, it just looks really cool.
Welcome to Spinsters, a podcast where it's not an all-star game if we're not a part of it. I'm Jordan, that's Haley. Today we are joined by Chauny, a hilarious personality on NBA Twitter. She is also a host of the Bonnet Gang podcast and the amazing committee on Twitter. If you guys don't know who the committee is, you need to follow them all on Twitter. They have amazing WNBA Twitter spaces. They have watch parties. They're the bomb. You just got to follow them. Make sure to follow Chauny at natural_wonder. And we have an amazing conversation today. After the break, us and Chauny.
Did you see that Brittany Griner sent a letter to Joe Biden?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was heartbreaking.
I know that letter itself was so fucking sad and scary. And
really sad.
I'm like, I get that that's who you would send it to get public attention, and then also, like, he is in theory the most influential, but Jesus Christ, that man's not, he can't do anything. Like, he's not able to pull off anything.
He just fell off a bike. Like,
he just fell off a bike. Yeah, and people, like, his team was like, it's actually very normal for presidents to fall off bikes. Here's some times that it's happened. Presidents fall all the time, so don't worry about it. He's totally fine and alive. Definitely not dead yet. Joe Biden.
William Taft definitely fell off the first bike.
Literally.
It's just, I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to go full, like, third eye conspiracy theory, but it feels like they told us to keep quiet at first so they could, like, sweep this under the rug, and that's kind of the infuriating part.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. You know what? Because it did make sense. Like, oh, this is a sensitive thing. Escalating it too fast could put it in a bad position. I think we've seen that before with a lot of issues and sensitive subjects, and just when the powers that be kind of have, like, are fast to act in a negative way. And I guess that's how you describe, like, Putin. But
then they didn't do anything.
Then nothing happened. Like,
then nothing happened. And then Brittany Griner's wife did the opposite and went on every major network and started talking and bringing more light to it. Mm-hmm. And she said it was because she was advised to do that. So I'm like, okay, we're getting opposite signals here. Are we supposed to keep quiet, or are you supposed to go out and talk more? But from this letter coming directly from Brittany Griner and her just saying, you know, it's the 4th of July and this holiday meant something different when I was actually free, it was so heartbreaking. And her saying she misses her wife, she misses her teammates. She said she'd never voted before, but in 2020 she voted for Joe Biden, and so she's hoping that can help in some way, that she actually voted for this. It was really sad, but it was also at the same time nice to hear in her words, because this whole time we've just been saying she's quote unquote doing okay, she's doing well, and we haven't been able to actually hear from Brittany. So that was the silver lining and all of that for me.
And then it's like, that was low-key a lie, because that part where she was like, it's hit me that I could be in here forever, like, that shook me.
Yeah, like, she's not okay.
Yeah, and it's understandable. So, like, telling her, like, yeah, she's in good spirits, like, okay.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm just like this whole thing sounds sus.
Yeah, it does. I just don't have any faith in them. When the part where she was like, I voted for the first time when I voted for you, I was like, if we stay in line with everything else that has happened recently, Nancy Pelosi is going to be like, if you want to get out Brittany Griner, just vote again.
Like, your life depends on it.
Exactly.
Like, midterms are coming up. Yeah. Also, can we get $15 towards the campaign? I'm sorry to be asking you this.
Like, sorry to be asking, but I really need it. Yeah, that email was ridiculous. Anyway, I hope that they change. This is the one thing that they accomplish.
Yeah.
Getting Brittany Griner the fuck home. That'd be amazing. But
please.
Yeah, that was bleak. I hope that she can get someone more effective to help soon.
Because that's the thing. I don't really have any faith in anybody involved right now because the person that was speaking on her behalf had a bad haircut. And I'm sorry, I judged that way. Like, I can't take you seriously as a lawyer or an official. I don't trust the W or the NBA because it's like, why isn't the NBA doing more to kind of leverage the situation? Like, you're $1 billion industry. Like,
international industry. Like, you pride yourself on being international. What was it? This All-Stars had like them, or was it All NBA or All-Stars had a bunch of international players and they were touting it? Okay.
So
do something.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't expect the W to have to like protest and boycott every single time something happens because that's not fair to them. But it's like the NBA, again, you have more leverage. Use it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
Free BG.
Yeah.
Till it's backwards.
Well, I guess let's talk about the Phoenix stuff now. Now we're in W land.
Ooh. Fun. Yeah.
Tell me what happened. I was moving all weekend. It was very stressful. Elfie got out 3 times.
Well, it kind of goes back a little bit of everything that's going on with the Mercury. But again, this is Brittany Griner's team that she's on. So you give them kind of a pass because they have this dark cloud over them of missing BG and not having her physically on the court. So everything with their preseason ranks and everything, it's like everyone was expecting Brittany Griner to be there. She is an all-star. She's a superstar. So besides their record and everything, they have a new coach, and they had Tina Charles, who is also a former MVP, an all-star. She, what was that, last week? A couple weeks ago, she just threw up the deuces and was like, I'm out. And they called it a contract divorce, which I've never heard that before in basketball. And they divorced, and she just left and then was on Seattle Storm like the next day. She's like, I'm trying to win a championship. Y'all are losers. Basically, she didn't.
Yes, but
she just was like, y'all losing too much. Good luck. I don't like this new coach. Bye. And then she was coming off the bench. She had a pep in her step. She was so happy like the next day on Seattle Storm.
Contract divorce, was this release written by her or by the team?
The team. It was, that was how it was officially reported, as a contract divorce. And I was like, well, who filed? What happened? What's going on here? Is there counseling involved? All right.
And she signed a 1-year deal. So she was like fed up. She couldn't even get to the All-Star break. And
it's like, it kind of goes beyond
90-Day Fiance Jordan.
Yeah. It's just annoyance.
They couldn't even make it. I know. Just annul it. It's not even
annul it. Exactly. That's just so weird. Why wouldn't they just say mutually parted ways?
Or released her, or we're trading her, like, just, the usual terms. I don't know why they had to be weird with it, but it's like, it's been something up with that team all season, because you start with, somebody told somebody else, and it was reported on Twitter that a rookie just left training camp and just dipped. And then it comes out later that, like, she got into nursing school. So she was like, I want to pursue other things, yada, yada, yada. Like, I'm good. And it's like, all right, cool. Congratulations. Then you get the Skylar DT beef, like in broad daylight, in the middle of the game. Then you get Tina Charles just getting out. And then you get Nygaard sticking her foot in her mouth again. And that team is a mess.
Yeah. Let's talk about that part. So Diana Taurasi doesn't make the All-Star team, right? So all the starters come out, reserves come out. Diana Taurasi doesn't make the All-Star team. Their head coach of the Phoenix Mercury goes in a press conference and she's like, if Diana Taurasi is not on an all-star team, then it's not even an all-star game. Like, it's just a regular all-star game. It doesn't even matter. That's basically what she says. Skylar Diggins, her player,
starting guards,
is on the all-star team. And Skylar Diggins quote tweets that video and just puts a clown emoji. And left it up. Like, it did not delete it. She left it up. everyone was like, okay, she's definitely calling her coach a clown, or is she saying like everyone who's thinking that Diana Taurasi is not an all-star is a clown? That's way further reach. She definitely was calling her coach a clown. Sent the W Twitter in a frenzy by one clown emoji.
Can you guys tell me what the disagreement was from the start with her and Diana Taurasi that day? Because I remember the clip you're talking about where they're on the bench and she's like, you can tell she's hyping herself up for it a little bit. She's like walking back and forth, like kind of convincing herself, like, I'm going to do it. I'm finally going to talk to her. And then she goes over there and I'm like, I would have folded the minute I had eye contact with Diana Taurasi. I would have immediately turned back around.
Woo!
What was that about?
We don't know.
Because the Mercury, ever since the finals, they've gotten away with just being able to not do media availability whenever they feel like it. And people just kind of let it rock. So we never really saw what happened there. But we do know that Skylar Diggins-Smith gets on Twitter that night and was like, I'm comfortable being the villain. From her locked account.
Yes, I screenshot that.
You know. Nothing
Skylar
says
Diggins
villain.
She tweeting these things out here.
But like from a locked account. She was saying, I'm comfortable being a villain from a locked account. Like, I don't know. That's like the Joker wearing a mask or something and like not letting us know it's him. You can't really be the villain if we can't see the tweet.
You can't have a pen name. Yeah, exactly. You have to be yourself.
Please.
I think she deleted that one too, but I screenshot that.
And it was another one.
Too good.
So she's saying like, I'm comfortable being the villain. She's like going off that night and then like deleting tweets. And I'm like, are you really comfortable being the villain here? Like, let's think about this.
She did not delete the clown one though. So she's
I'll stand on that. Yeah.
She's moving into her villain ways.
And was that unlocked?
She's
I got unlocked at that point.
So
you have her blocked.
You got
after like
you got blocked or
I
you
got
have
blocked
her blocked?
because so people were kind of like, okay, so remember when she took the break, right? So she's out for like 2-3 games, and everybody was like, Night Guard goes into the press conference and was like, yeah, I spoke to Skylar today and she sounded terrible, like she's sick. And I was like, it reminded me of Mean Girls, like, I can't, I'm sick.
It was right after the fight.
Yes.
That was right after the tussle.
So
and then she was out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody is like making these excuses like, oh, she might be sick. And I was like, she was just tweeting that she's the villain. No, she's not sick. She's sick of them. Like, she's sick of her teammates. Yes. But like, no, I'm not buying that. So I was just like, I'm like, I'm not buying this. This is trash. And also like, yeah, you look like you were going to cry when you were standing up to DT. So I'm like, I'm just saying things. Yeah. So I understood the block, but I'm now blocked because I'm like, this is trash. Like, you can't be a villain from a locked account. Like, I don't even know what was going on here. No, she's not sick. Like, everybody, let's just calm down with this.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh. And it feels totally still tense now.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I just want to throw in there because we love talking about her, but after Tina Charles left, right? The next game, the Mercury won. And then Sophie Cunningham is caught on video after they win. She like goes up to the crowd and she's like, fuck Tina Charles. And she's like chanting it and like getting the crowd hype. And
what?
Yo.
Did she get suspended?
No. I feel like that was kind of a sentiment because like nobody really said anything. Nobody looked shocked.
They were all laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Seattle Storm versus Phoenix Mercury is going to be a really great game because Tina Charles saw that video, heard that audio. It's just one team in the WNBA.
Sophie's teammates are like, don't make me support her. Don't make me agree with her.
Don't
make me like her.
They ain't going to bat for her. No.
Yeah.
No one is.
But like going back
they're in the video, they will still deny their association with her.
And I would.
They're like clapping along in the back. Yeah, no, you just can't be associated with her. But the Mercury aren't doing very well, right?
No, they kind of stink. And it was weird because Going back to what you were saying, like when she said the thing about the All-Star game, there was like more drama with that because when All-Star rankings came out, it shows the fan vote, it shows the coaches vote, and it shows the players vote. And the players voted Skylar Diggins-Smith 14 at her position. And I'm like, there's 12 teams in the league. So y'all said pretty much every starting guard and then like 2 reserves are better than her. Like that's wild because she's having a really good season this year. Like she's the reason they have the few wins that they have. So then for Nygaard to say like, oh, it's a game in Chicago, but it's not All-Star game if DT's not there. And then like the players voting her 14th, I'm like, she's just getting it from all angles. Like, ugh.
Yeah. The vote was anonymous, so they couldn't even show love anonymously.
Yeah, I need that leak. I need that.
Players' votes are so telling. I think they're so telling. Yeah. And their social media. Like I remember a couple years ago, it just seemed like not even a couple years ago, like 2 summers ago, like none of the big players liked Giannis. You know what I mean? And you just always I never understood what that was about. As much.
I think he like kind of leaned into the I train by myself. I don't know new friends. And people kind of took an exception to that for some reason. But I'm like, he won the title. I don't know. But like with Skylar, it really was like, what did she do to make everyone this mad? I need to know that.
Yeah, I wonder if she's just really not fun to hang out with.
That's the vibes I'm getting, kinda.
Yeah.
Like she just keeps herself. She's like, I got my Puma money over here. Like, I don't need y'all. Like, she gives off the energy. I don't need you guys, you peasants down here. I don't need y'all. That's the vibe she gives off.
Right.
Well, welcome to the WNBA drama. It's fun over here. Woo-hoo. You're caught up for the Phoenix Mercury only.
Yeah.
Y'all want to do other W? You want to talk about NBA mess? You want to talk about?
I'm trying to think if there's any other drama. I don't know if I've actually said it on Spinsters, but I'm so happy Derek Fisher is gone. That's the only thing I want to say. I think like that's very
4 times, yeah.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure that it's out there in the world again.
Please get that on tape.
Again.
And they're doing okay.
They're doing okay. Figure it out. I don't know why Fred won't play Kennedy Carter the minutes I feel like she deserves, but good luck.
Good luck. They're trying to figure it out. Even just I've talked to both Lexi Brown and Jordan Canada recently. That's what they're saying. We're trying to figure out. We are learning all new systems. Like it's a whole new team. They learned a new system when training camp started. Now they're learning a whole new system under this interim head coach, and they're trying their best. That's what they're saying. And I'm like, oh.
God bless.
God bless. It's rough.
Yeah, it is.
On the W, what was this A'ja Wilson mic'd up situation? Do you know what I'm talking about?
What happened?
I don't know. I saw on Twitter the other day where somebody either A'ja was mic'd up for something. I don't know. That's actually all I had. I thought you guys would be like, oh, I know what you guys are talking about. So,
the only thing that comes to mind is when she was mic'd up talking to Jackie Young, and she was like, Jackie Young kind of hesitated on a shot, and she didn't take a shot, and A'ja was mic'd up saying, we get paid to shoot the ball. And then it was on a shirt like the next day.
Oh, that's funny.
She's like, we get paid to shoot. Don't hesitate, basically.
That's something about WNBA fans is that they'll turn anything into a shirt.
Anything.
Like what someone says something funny and it's on a shirt the next day.
The presses are on. The printing press stays on.
Stays hot.
Yeah.
Stays hot. There's a clown emoji shirt out there somewhere, and we all know what that means.
Oh, absolutely.
You know that there was a clown at the game the other day, right?
No.
Phoenix's very next game, they somebody said like there was a clown like behind the Phoenix bench, and they had a sign, but like they couldn't read what the sign was, and I was like, oh, that is top tier. Like that's how we move the game forward. This is the thing the W needs. Like that right there.
W grows.
This
That's perfect.
How we do it. Oh, that's perfect. That's amazing.
Actually, before we move on, I do want to know how you guys think Becky's doing.
Wonderful.
Because the Spurs are in basically when we get to the NBA side, the news is that the Spurs are like cashing in for the future. Mm-hmm. And I think Popovich is probably going to be done. Because I don't know what you're going to stick around like 5 more years to see this through. I don't think so.
God, no.
So she
got out. I mean, perfect
even
time.
Without this, like this, it just confirms that she got out and went to a great situation. Because staying behind to coach that would have been a mess. She would have just had to been like the martyr who deals with 5 years of bad.
Yeah, and we talked about that. We didn't want that for her. We didn't want it to be, this is a new team. All this pressure is on Becky Hammon as a coach to turn the Spurs around. But she went to the W, coaching the Aces. They're going back and forth with the Chicago Sky for the number 1 seed. They look exciting. They're shooting more threes. They're playing faster. They have pretty much the exact same team as last year under Bill Laimbeer, but they're so much better. And they are so exciting. And that's Becky Hammon to me. Bringing in just that new energy. And she took a couple players that, like Kelsey Plum and De'Arica Hamby were coming off the bench, but she made them starters, as she should. And I think that also changed the dynamic, but she's doing great. I think she's probably going to win Coach of the Year, honestly, in her first season.
Wow.
I think she's in contention. And spacing is so crazy to watch because Bill Laimbeer had them like playing in the phone booth. So it's like people are just like standing right next to each other, looking right in their faces when they make passes. And I'm just like, yes, use the whole floor. This is beautiful. Like, they're in a slump right now, but, they'll figure it out. Hopefully, like, she's kind of shaking Chelsea Plum, like, point guard to point guard. Like, hey, I need you to calm down a little bit because she's taking the whole, like, we get paid to shoot thing a little too, like, you get paid to do other things, too. So it's okay to do them, but, they'll figure it out. I'm still hopeful. If I get my Gamecocks and at Aces championship in a calendar year, like, I'm going to be insufferable. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Going to be sick of me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. The Bill Laimbeer thing is funny because with some players, when they're coaches, they coach exactly how you think they would because it's exactly how they were as players. And they think those things are important. And then other coaches, like Steve Nash, you're like, yeah, I thought of you as a really smart point guard. And now I don't think of you as a very smart coach. So not reflecting it very well.
He was just like content skateboarding and playing soccer. So when they were like,
just
head coach, I was like,
soccer.
Yeah, like he's exactly how I would expect him to be a coach. Just vibes.
Just vibes. Yeah. Yep. Not even orchestrating them, just kind of soaking them in.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
The vibes decide.
Yeah.
The vibes decide. Wow.
I hope he goes back to, especially after all this shit, which I guess now we can get into. What is he going to do in all of this? Not only have the Nets, so the current situation is, I kept getting worried that KD was going to get traded, but what was the promise is obviously gone. So Harden's long gone of that original picture. Now Kyrie has opted in, but the idea is that he's probably going to be traded, I guess, to the Lakers. That's the only thing that anyone is saying. That's the only mutual. The Nets might be interested, but he might be. But I also don't know what the Nets could possibly want from there.
Talking about Russell Westbrook, and he does not deserve this.
No, he doesn't deserve it. He does not deserve it. But I do think that him and Nets fans would be a good pair because Nets fans are way more mild, right? They've been used to some interesting ups and downs. Like I think, flourishes when people really love him for who he is. And I think maybe Nets fans could be that for him. And then KD, it feels like the minute that Kyrie opted in, was like, all right, well, I'd like to go. Which, according to, I read this report that said actually it's not true. Like, they do really want to play together, and KD's like anger is fueled in part by the fact that Kyrie's not happy. I don't get that at all, because as grown-ups, you have to see at the end of the day, if you really want to play together, like, there is a place we could play together, and it is the place we're contractually obligated to play right now. And we could just play here, together. But if they both want to leave, I also think, that's really funny for Sean Marks that he thought he orchestrated like one of the best super teams of this decade. And then it just never happened because we had a pandemic. And this particular state they live in, the particular views that their player has had on vaccinations, all added up to this storm of like, they will never get to see 1 second of what they thought they were going to be. And now Steve Nash is just there, and who's he going to coach?
Yeah.
And it's like super confusing from the Kevin Durant perspective for me, because I'm like, he's like, oh, I'm unhappy, And I'm like, my brother in Christ, you asked for all of this. You were the one that recruited Kyrie. Y'all were the ones that reportedly picked Steve Nash. Y'all asked for DeAndre Jordan. So I'm like,
oh,
you
God.
got
That's where they went wrong.
And that's what I'm saying.
For a big
we have to
contract.
talk about Kevin Durant, the GM, one of these days, because goodness gracious. But, they recruited hard, and like, you got everything you wanted, and now you're kind of like, no. I'm like, did you not know Kyrie that well? Because like, if it's somebody I want to work with, I have a general understanding of how they operate and how this can work. So I'm just like, did you not really know him as well as you thought you knew him? And now everything has hit the fan and you don't want to deal with that anymore? Because I get it, but like, that is an interesting time for all of this to come to a head. But it's still really weird, because like, now you have Steve Nash, who again just wants to vibe, but like, at the very beginning, that's what they liked about him. So if he's left with the team he actually has to coach, they're in trouble, because he just wants to vibe, spin the shore wheel, see who coaches today. Like, I don't know what you do with that, and I don't want Russell Westbrook in that situation. Like, he's just been through so much already. Like, please.
I know.
Please. He just needs peace.
Maybe it's TLC. I agree. Yeah.
I think Steve Nash fakes an injury, and he's not coaching at the start of next season.
Take it back to his Laker days, where he's just like laying on the bench next to Chris Kaman.
He's not there. I don't know if he's quitting. I don't know what he's doing. But he's coming up with he's cooking it up as we speak. The excuse to not coach next season if KD and Kyrie are not with the Nets. That's my theory.
That would be wild to go from like Jason Kidd spilling the water on the court to Steve Nash like faking an injury.
He knows how to do it.
Especially, he likes soccer too, right? That's the dramatics and he's gonna do it.
Yeah, he's gonna pour the water he is slipping on. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It is the KD as GM thing being like super faulty. You're right. It's been really bad, and he also got like the Kenny agitation with Kenny, who I thought was such a great coach, and just seemed like he had built something that was so fun out of what I definitely perceived as nothing. Like he wanted to play Jarrett Allen, and they were like not okay with that. And I really think that was the beginning of them not seeing eye to eye, like him, Kenny and management. And for DeAndre Jordan to be put in and like not be a good solution, it was just really weird. Certain players, maybe not as much now as then, but certain players deserve to have their ego stroked. Like Kevin Garnett has never come off the bench in a single game, not even the last years in Minnesota. Like, he always started. And then there are players who don't deserve it, like DeAndre Jordan. So it's just really confusing. You pick your battles for your friends, but also pick your friends a little bit choosier. Like you said, if you're going to work with them, you don't know them at all. It's just, it's a bit weird, but this is definitely his own doing.
DeAndre Jordan has to be like the opposite of Skylar Diggins-Smith, because everybody loves him and wants him to be on the team despite like not producing at all. Like, he was great in his role with the Clippers, but that was like almost a decade ago. So we're watching him basically be like a shell of a big man, and everybody's still like, yes, DeAndre Jordan.
That's my
We need
guy.
him. Gotta have it.
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
But were you gonna say something, Jordan?
I was just gonna say that he's in those friendships and he's accepting those contracts, but it was totally with the thought that he was not going to play. So that's why in the playoffs, when he was actually like asked and when they were putting him in, it was like, oh, I thought I was just chilling on the bench. Like, that's what we talked about. That was the agree. So yeah, he's under the guise that he doesn't actually have to play and
vibes guy.
Yeah. He's just sitting there collecting a check. So don't ask him to do anything. That's he doesn't want to do anything. That's my understanding.
I don't like being asked to work at work either. If we're
Me
being
neither,
completely honest,
yeah.
so I fully understand that.
Yeah, I get it. I empathize. Okay, we're gonna take a break and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about Rudy Gobert, the most valuable man in the NBA. Maybe some DeJounte Murray, maybe some Knicks. Maybe a lot of Knicks. I wrote down all their point guards of the last decade.
Oh, no.
So we'll do that when we get back. Okay, you guys want to talk about Gobert?
Yep.
Okay. I wrote it down. Okay. So if I were to tell you that this genuinely happened. Okay, this is what the Jazz got out of this trade, which happened July 1st. So at this point, we've had a good 4 days to really think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say four and a half if you're, or no, 3.5. I guess there's a lot of drinking. Okay, the Jazz get a 2023 unprotected first round pick, 2025 unprotected first round pick, 2027 unprotected first round pick, 2029. So like we don't even know if the country at this point is going to like not have melted and crisped at the end, right? California is like essentially just a burnt pizza crust at this point. Top 5 protected first. Miami's like floated off the water. Miami's an island now. 2026 pick swap. Number 22 pick. Oh no, they were describing Walker. Okay. Walker Kessler, Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Leandro Bolmaro. So for all that, the Wolves get Rudy Gobert and they have to pay for him. 4 years and $170 million. So Rudy Gobert is 30 years old. We're in 2022. I just doing the math and I was like, well, 2024. So that's not, but then we're not, I'm doing this thing now where I'm like, everything starts at 2020. Not because of the pandemic, just because it's a clean number. Mm-hmm. You know, like I used to think about the 2000s and everyone's like, oh, 20 years ago, like the 1980s. I've kind of shifted past doing that, but now I keep starting at 2020.
I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm sorry.
4 years, which is fine. I mean, you're on your own journey. But 4 years from now isn't even 2024. It's 2026.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
34-year-old Rudy Gobert.
My favorite part of all of this is Patrick Beverley. All of the celebration, all of the tweets, all of the trash talk, and you got lumped in with a 2029 pick. Like, they do not care about you. And it was so easy just to throw him in. And that was my favorite part. But there's no way that Rudy Gobert magically becomes this wonderful offensive threat that Minnesota needs him. And I just don't know him next to Cat. Like, is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? That feels like, well, we're going back to the Bill Laimbeer talk. Like, they're just going to be standing next to each other in the paint. I don't see that working at all.
I mean, okay, so admittedly, I didn't watch a ton of Minnesota Timberwolves games because who willingly does that? But wouldn't Cat be more of like a stretch 4 and like they try and utilize him in that? So like in that sense, I feel like it can't be the absolute worst thing possible ever to happen to society. Because, like, you know, if you get some offensive production out of Patrick Beverley, then, you know, you might be able to make something shake and figure some things out. I hope he gets his, you know, his play-in ring, you know, when they won their championship, you know, after winning the play-in game. I hope they send it to him and, you know, at least thank him for his service in that manner.
He's an all-timer of, like, incredibly year after year puts his life on the line for these teams. And, like, literally, like, gets a tattoo. Like, I don't know this for a fact, but I just feel like I know it. He gets, like, some kind of tattoo you can never cover up. It's too distinct. And then he gets traded. Like, it's nothing. But that's just how he, I think, self-motivates. So that's, you know, whatever. I think they work together fine. I don't think it's a huge crisis because you've got, in one way, it is a puzzle piece, sort of, right? Like, if in the most elementary, let's boil down the Wolves. Like, Kat has so many skills outside. Rudy does not. Rudy can do a couple things on offense, and they all happen right here. You can put Kat outside, right? And then let's go to the reverse. Reverse defensively, like, you want Rudy inside, and he's going to be able to take the heat that Kat's always got for not being able to fill that role. And however, we've seen some shortcomings with Rudy Gobert over his career, and that have never held stronger than more recently. And so I don't know, like, exactly. I don't think the plan is for those to ever get better or be absolved, but he should not be asked to defend outside. He just shouldn't. And I do think that it was an inaccurate portrayal of maybe what he possibly could do the last Jazz series, because his teammates were not helping him. Like, Donovan Mitchell was like, I'm not a two-way player today. So you can worry about the perimeter. True. Yeah, like, nobody was really helping him. So I don't think it was the best reflection of Rudy, but you want him in to handle the big men who are coming inside. You want him to handle the pressure that's coming inside. Great. Minnesota. My question to you is, what the fuck are you going to do everywhere else? Like, for this to work and be a complementary piece, Rudy Gobert coming to Minnesota, I don't really have objections with until you show the list of returns. Because the thing is, like, that's a great puzzle piece, but that's, like, one piece. There's still, this whole side of the puzzle has not even been done. Are you waiting? Are you saying that you think Anthony is going to be ready to play to this caliber that you've invested in Rudy for the next however many years, like, right away? I don't think so. And if he's not, because he's the most important player on this team, what are you getting for all of this? The first round of the playoffs, which you've just come out of? Like, it's just that it's way, 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 way too much. It's way too much because Rudy Gobert is never going to fix a team. That's that was my whole argument for do you trade Donovan or do you trade him? I don't think either of them really you can build a team around. That's why I was like, team trade both. But Rudy Gobert is not going to, he's a difference maker, but he's not the item. And right now they've traded like he's the item. So I just don't think it makes sense. They're going to have a lot of perimeter issues defensively, especially without Patrick Beverley. And yeah, I just don't think it's a good idea. Maybe by like some, you know, you can never tell. Sometimes there's friend groups and you're like, I can't believe you guys are all friends. You all really click. Like, she's so offensive, you know, and like she just says shit that's like inappropriate. But for some reason, these two don't kill each other, right? Maybe that's D'Lo and Rudy Gobert. Maybe they're like really good friends. I don't know. Like, maybe they all click and they've all got a humor that I don't quite understand. Like, I don't think Kat's funny. And I don't think Gobert's funny, so maybe they are funny to each other.
The double negatives cancel each other out.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe they're both like, I'm so misunderstood. But you know what I mean? And they bond over that.
They're just in a group chat sending each other the worst memes you could possibly send.
Ones that would get absolute crickets everywhere else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
DM each other laughing. Fuck Jerry memes.
Yeah, and they like actually participate in the group chat. Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's them and this all clicks. To me, not enough. Like, there's just not enough. I'm not actually worried about the fit. I think that we're going to see an instant improvement, actually. Like in the Wolves, we're going to see them be efficient in ways they never were before. but it's not going to take them far enough. And congratulations, just traded away your future, your entire future, everything you've got. What else can you give away at this point? DeAndre Russell? For what? And even if you do, how are you going to trade up? You don't have any picks to package with him. You don't have any like role players to package with him. So I was shocked. When I saw the number of picks, even when I saw the players, because the first Woj tweet was just the players that were getting traded. So Beasley, Beverly, Vanderbilt. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, that is interesting, you know, think whatever, and some picks. Okay, let's see, like, what pick? Thinking, like, I don't know, maybe like two first rounders.
It just says multiple first round picks.
And then when all the picks came out, I just, like, we were just talking about how annoying draft grades are and how annoying, like, grading everything the minute after it happens is because people are consistently wrong, like, just all the time and overreact. But this is a bad trade. This is really bad.
And it's all going to blow up in their face for Minnesota even more when Anthony Edwards quits basketball and becomes an actor. And then they're just going to be like, well, that was a part of the future, and now that's gone too.
Let's make a bet right here, right now, July 5th, 2022. Who asks out of that team first? I think it's Anthony Edwards.
I think so too.
I think Ant too, because it's like he's had to kind of pump Cat up, and now he's got to like defend. Like, Gobert is his teammate, so he has some sort of obligation, even professionally, and that's it. It might just be too much.
And Ant has some hilarious quotes about Gobert already.
Does he?
Oh yeah.
From when they were against each other.
Do you have them?
Yeah, and hold on.
And he's not gonna switch up.
No.
He's gonna be like, I meant every word of that. It's just he's on my team now, and I love that.
He will not switch up. Yeah, I think it's Ant too because, you know, he was drafted by the Timberwolves. He's like, I've been here long enough. I don't want to go through another bad spell. And he asks out. He wants to see what else is out there on in the NBA sphere. So he wants to get out first. D'Lo has already seen what's out there. Cat, he keeps signing extensions. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. But Ant, I see him wanting that.
Here's the quote. To me, the best rim protector in the league is Porzingis. Anytime I go against Porzingis, I don't get no layups. I don't get why we couldn't finish on Rudy Gobert. He puts no fear in my heart.
I remember that.
I like it.
It's a true statement.
Right. He means that. Yeah.
He puts no fear in my heart.
It's just tough.
Ooh, that's gonna be a fun first day of practice.
Another thing.
Sorry.
One thing about the Timberwolves that I think is fascinating is they now have accumulated some of the brokest looking jump shots in the NBA. Like, if you look at D'Lo, I know it goes in, and Gobert and Towns. It's like, if you looked at that, you would be like, well, these guys have never been taught bend, elbow, whatever, follow through. They really sling it. So that's good. Maybe that's
good. Yeah, that's what you want.
They're all together. Yeah.
Who was that player the Wolves used to have, like 2012? Oh, who had the goofiest shot?
Oh.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do. He was on the Rockets.
Out and I don't know. I'll think about it. What were you going to say, Chauny?
I was just having a little bit of a crisis because the 2029 pick was born in like 2010. So automatically, I think this whole trade is just stupid. Because why did that happen?
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah.
It's like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
basketball is
like
meaningless.
A 6th grader. Oh my goodness. You know, there's some wild AAU parent that's like, that's gonna be you, drilling their son in practice right now.
You just got traded to the Jazz.
So, you guys saw Brian Windhorst's thing, right? Kevin Martin. Yep, that's him. Kevin Martin. God bless him and his arms, his little arms.
Former Kings superstar.
Yeah. Have you guys? You saw the Brian Windhorst thing, right? Where he's doing.
Yes.
Now why? Okay, so obviously, I think what he's hinting at is that this is the perfect setup for a blockbuster trade, right? You've got multiple picks now that the Jazz have. You've got a bunch of role players who could be doled out to different teams if another recipient wants to bring them in, and then even trade those for more. You've got Danny Ainge at the helm, who also orchestrated a huge trade with Boston. Or with the Nets, sorry, when he was with Boston. So obviously what he was getting at for 2 minutes, the quietest 2 minutes I've ever heard on First Take. I know everyone said that, but I was just amazed. Like, not one person said. They were all just hanging on,
every
trying to figure
word.
it out. and I, like, somebody piped in and offered a solution. He said, no. No. I think obviously what he's saying is that there's space for Kevin Durant. They can make it work for Kevin Durant to go there and play with Donovan Mitchell, which would be very fucking funny, because then we could never say this thing we always say, which is like, players only want to go to Miami and LA and sometimes New York. Like, that could never be said anymore, because you've picked the one team that's the butt end of every location joke. Like, there is not a team that catches more shit just for simply being where it is than the Utah Jazz.
Yes.
So we could never say that ever again. I'm curious, like, that would tell me so much about Kevin Durant in a way that I don't know if I can quite vocalize. Does that make sense? That, like, he would really do that?
Go to Utah.
What is it all about? Yeah, exactly. I'm just a little bit like, what is driving you here? Is it to win? Question mark? Like, I don't know. What exactly drives you as a person? I need to reread that massive profile that was about him in the shells and something. Maryland. You guys remember that? It was like a big metaphor.
I have so many questions about Kevin Durant and what he's looking for in life, in a team, in friends, as we talked about. So I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is that piece that's going to get him another ring. I think that's the first thing on the checklist. Can the other star player get me a championship ring? I don't think that's Donovan Mitchell. So on top of that, you're going to Utah. But I can see D Wade trying to convince him of something and telling him about good restaurants in Utah or something. But I don't see that being the deal breaker.
I literally just remembered my conspiracy theory about the NBA pumping up Utah. Do you remember this? Was I saying this on a podcast, or did I just call one of you and say this one day? Okay, basically, I think that, you know how the NBA inserted Brian Colangelo to the Sixers? Both Colangelos?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, the league didn't have a choice, and it was just, or the teams didn't have a choice. It was just like the league said, we're going to fix this. All-Star game this coming year, isn't it, in Utah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Wade, why would he
why
would he be involved in Utah? Under what
doing
scenario would you become involved in Utah? Now, listen, no, but really hear me out. Why the fuck would you just randomly, no one ever answered that question. He said something dumb that, like, literally flew in one year and out the other. I had no idea what he was talking about. Why would you be in Utah? Of all the places you could go be advisor or whatever, what about Chicago? They need advising. What's he doing? I honestly don't even know what he's doing with the team. He owns part of it.
Yeah.
Why Utah? Right? So my original thing was like, this is a plant by Adam Silver. There's some Utah agenda. I don't know. Now we know also that the All-Star game is going to be there. I don't know why I'm making All-Star game and Dwayne Wade kiss, but they're both there. And now Kevin Durant goes to Utah? This is not right. I'm sorry. This is not the league I grew up knowing. Like, shit's changing, and I smell a plant. I smell involvement. And that's all I'm going to say. That's not natural for a free agent. Not a free agent, but somebody who's saying, I want to demand a trade, to say Utah is a possibility. That's just not natural. I'm sorry.
It feels like when they say like mattress firm is like a money laundering.
Yeah.
Like I that's the vibes I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he said Utah to like throw us off his trail, because like first he was like, oh, I'm gonna go to either Phoenix or Miami, and everybody was like the 2 number 1 seeds in both conferences. So he was like, I mean, and Utah, you know.
That's a really good point.
That's perfect.
And then, oh my God, my favorite part of this whole Kevin Durant thing is when people on Twitter started making the legitimate case that the best possible trade package for him exists in Golden State.
Yes, I was gonna say, Harry,
oh my God.
that was all over my feed. That he's been in talks with the All-Stars of Golden State of a possible return.
Oh my God.
Is him coming back to Golden State, I throw it all away. Like, all of that drama of him leaving everything in 2019, and then he just comes back.
I laughed myself into a coma because like I just watched the clip again of the 2018 parade where they just randomly started firing off on him, the owners, and I was just like, God dang, they really did not like him like that.
Yeah, exactly. That would be I don't even know how to describe. That'd be so funny. I was gonna say that was like when Justin Timberlake came back and did a second Super Bowl appearance, because the first one, like, everybody didn't place the blame on him in the moment, and so in retrospect it's like the opposite kind of with KD. Everyone was like really pissed at him, and then I think people have had a reckoning. Some people where they're like, you know what, he could do what he wanted to do. He just wanted to win, and like, good for him. Metaphor with JT is falling apart as I'm saying it, but you know what I mean. Like, you're coming back like somewhere under very different circumstances and a little bit owning it, but I still think that's a little bit his nightmare.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to move on so you could win by yourself. And if you go back, you have no option but to win with them again. Like, you guys are obviously going to win everything.
And it fell apart. How it fell apart of him going off and wanting to win again, and it just completely blew up in his face. Now he's like crawling back to Golden State. That's not a good look. I don't think he wants that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Draymond is still there. So that...
Yes.
That is the worst possible scenario, because the person that said we didn't even need you in the first place, who also called you in the first place, was going to be there when you get back. Like,
oh, yeah.
I would just retire. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go live in the Himalayas. That's not the life I would live. But, you know, God bless.
Can you imagine there's just like sightings like 15 years from now, like Kevin Durant went off the grid and like somebody's just on vacation. They're doing like one of those like farm kind of like stay things where you stay for 2 months, you help on the farm, and they just see this like guy and they're like, is that guy 6'7"? They're like, no, he's 7 foot actually. And he's farming those sheep over there.
The future that Kyrie wants.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
well.
Oh, go ahead.
What were you gonna say? I was about to change to DeJounte. So.
Well, if KD comes to the Warriors, we will have assembled 4 of the top 6 NBA podcasts, NBA player podcasts. With
it's a media company.
Yeah. We might have to start looking at the Golden State Warriors as a
media conglomerate. Yeah.
The Warriors sort of meet at the intersection of sports and pop culture.
Oh my goodness.
What about tech?
Oh, and a little bit of tech.
Iguodala.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you guys want to talk about DeJounte, or do you want to talk about Jalen Brunson?
I think Brunson is a little
pretty
more
funny
exciting.
because we're going into conspiracy, and I just saw this this thing on Twitter that said that the Knicks are probably going to get fined for tampering, which I'm like, yeah, obviously. They should have just waited. You know, I just don't understand why. You know you're going to be able to do it. You've got so many things to support it. You know, I think maybe it's just a little insecurity thing of like, I want everyone to stop making fun of me for unloading everything valuable on draft day so I can sign someone who kind of just got real shiny in the playoffs. But look, the Knicks got their man, and that's not something I've ever been able to say about them. So,
but it's Jalen Brunson. Like, I want everyone to stop making fun of me. So let me go tamper for a hot at the moment role player. Like, he did his thing for sure. He deserves to get paid for sure. But I can't even tell you the forecast for his future because it's Jalen Brunson. I don't know. So I mean, good luck. It's just funny, like, you tampered for Jalen Brunson.
I know. And
but again, if you ask a Kings fan, they're like, "This is the Messiah. This is the second coming of Michael Jordan that we got, and he is that right now. He's looking like that right now.
Oh my goodness.
But is he everything that they need? Question mark. Don't know.
I mean,
I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
everything that they need is a little bit. I don't know that is going to be.
They need a lot.
Person, but yeah, I mean, the actual analysis of him is exactly what you guys just said. Go watch the playoff series where Luka was out, and you'll get a hint of what he could become, like the upside. And there you go. That's like all you need to. Yeah, hopefully he shoots more and better threes than he did playing with Luka. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, no. He shot better 3-wise when Luka was on the floor because he was such a distraction. So there's not going to be nearly as many distractions. Or
I was gonna say, who's the Luka on the Knicks?
It's him. Yeah.
Julius Randle or we?
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
Julius Randle, like, only on odd days of the calendar. Like, he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like, at least when the Lakers Photoshop people, they get big free agents. The Knicks are just...
I was talking to my friend Sam about that. On one hand, what do I always do? Make fun of the Knicks for setting their sights too large. Harry, what's the saying about the eyes and the stomach?
Their eyes are bigger than their stomach.
Yeah.
Too big for their stomach.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they think that they're able to sign, we're always making fun of them. Like, you really thought you could get LeBron. You really thought you could get Kyrie. You really thought you could get KD. And then they set inappropriate sights, And so maybe, and they really locked everything in place. Like, they were like 100% sure that they could get this guy. Leon Rose, president of the Knicks, son, is literally Jalen Brunson's agent. And then they also, the Knicks hired Jalen Brunson's dad. Jalen Brunson's dad, who just a couple months ago was talking in we sentences about what they're going to do. We'll have to see after the end of the season. Like, we. So, like, all of a sudden you're putting one and the same. There's just the familial relations. Like, they really ensured it. They were like, you know what? No one's going to be able to make fun of us this time. We are getting him. It's just the him. That's the actual problem.
Like, imagine going from, like, the story playoff runs of Patrick Ewing to, yes, we got Jalen Brunson. Like, this is your history now. This is where you are as a franchise.
Yeah.
I wish the best for Jalen Brunson. I feel like he was really showing out what he could do for a... He went into every game like, I'm trying to get paid. Like, that was his mindset, and I commend him for that. And he did get paid. I just feel like the history, which, Haley, I think you're going to talk about, the history of Knicks point guards, and especially what just happened to Kemba, just makes me cringe. Even if I'm the player, I'm like, yes, I'm getting paid. I'm so excited. This is what I'm doing. But I'm going to a team where I feel like my demise is automatic just as a point guard. It's like automatically gonna fall. So that's the hard part even more, on top of the Knicks saying that this is their guy, but Jalen Brunson saying this is my team. Like, but it's the bag. So
yeah, good for him. Good for him. No problems with him. He gets to live in New York. He's gonna have a good time. But
he's from New Jersey,
right? Yeah. There is a definite, like, list of, even if you were not the starting point guard, you are a point guard. If you've arrived in New York City and you're playing point guard, basically what has happened historically is that you got drafted probably pretty high, probably to like the Magic or maybe, you know, like the Kings, a team that's always going to be high, right? Played for like 2 years there. It just wasn't working out. Like people thought you were pretty good, but you know, because of the team situation, you never really could flourish, could show what you could do. You get traded on a deal that definitely looks like you're not good out of there. Somewhere like bigger market, maybe not thriving, like let's say Houston. Houston's a big place for players to pass through. Mm-hmm. Then you stink. You just suck, you know, and you're there for like 2 years. It feels like way longer. And people are like, man, I remember your name, draft night. We were so excited about you. Then you sign with the Knicks. That's how it always happens. Here's a list. Okay. Every Knicks starting point guard on opening night since 2009. This was actually made last year by a man named Tommy Beer. I'm taking this from his Twitter. So this is, 2009. Chris Duhon. Okay. Duke. Okay, 2010, Ray Felton. 2011, Tony Douglas. 2012,
maybe the best one.
Like, Ray Felton, and then repeats in 2012. And the weight that repeated Ray Felton took,
coming back around,
that entry holds more weight than anyone, would initially assume. 2013, Pablo Prigioni. that was a time. That was definitely a time. 2014, Shane Larkin. 2015, Jose Calderon. 2016, Derrick Rose. 2017, Ramon Sessions.
Okay.
He blocked LeBron once.
That's what he's known for.
Okay. 2018, Trey Burke. 2019, Alonzo Trier. 2020, Alfred Payton. 2021, Kemba Walker. So now, not only are we getting to a place where we're realizing that these guys aren't that good to start with, this is a place where you go for your point guard abilities to just kind of crumble like blue cheese.
All the way. Like, you will be a starting point guard and then you are no longer on the team. Like, there's no repeats.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Well, besides Felt. But it was not back-to-back years. Anyway.
No, but to your point, like, there's no repeats. One of the follow-ups from that tweet to a second one was that over the past 15 years, again, this is last year, from 2005 to 2006 season through 2021 season, the Knicks franchise leader in total assists is Carmelo. A little, I mean, but of course the initial grain of salt is like, yes, because nobody's repeated, but it's like, yes, nobody's repeated. That's bad. So
Melo somewhere is just
like the point.
Yes. Get a win. Just fist bumping.
Yeah, Melo's like, I'm extremely selfless. And that's all despite the fact that Melo hadn't played there since 2017.
Right.
So those last 4 years, like, he wasn't even on the court to assist.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I mean, that you didn't even, there's like the Stephon Marbury years, the Steve Francis years. I think Sebastian Telfair had a cup of coffee with the Knicks. Like, it goes farther.
Yeah, it's deeper. It's deeper and it's sadder.
It only gets worse the further we look back. Man.
John Starks has to be like rolling in his armchair right now. Like, what happened?
I thought you were going to say grave, and I was like, he died?
No, I didn't say grave because I thought that, like, this would be considered news, so I don't want to have you responsible for that.
Smart.
No, I actually think a very funny thing is when people say they're grave, like, just to be funny, and then people are, But
I'm like, sometimes I don't know if certain people are still with us, so I'm like, it might be true. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, for sure.
But he's very much alive as far as I know. Just FYI.
You heard it here first. John Starks is alive. Oh, shit. Okay, we're about to run out of time. Do you guys have any thoughts on DeJounte to the Hawks? Basically, the Hawks get him and Jock which is the best first name ever of an NBA player. And then the Spurs get Gallinari, who they released, signed with Boston, which is also very interesting because they also got Malcolm Brogdon. The Spurs also, so that basically they created space, and then they got a 2023 first round pick, 2025 first round pick, 2026 first round pick swap, 2027 first round pick. So they are fully like, okay, I'm fully anticipating Pop saying he's hanging it up.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, we don't have time to see this team come into itself again. And I think this is a good place to stop. I don't know if he'll tell us. We talk about this all the time. It's just going to be a sticky note that he leaves on his office, like, gone fishing. I don't know what it's going to say. But I don't think it's going to be this whole farewell tour with Pop. And I think all of these first-round picks for the future, that says it to me. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Just, like, going back to our point about not knowing if people are still with us, you said Gallinari? Like that.
He's still an NBA player, believe it or not.
Hey.
Good for him.
Yeah. That is shocking. And then I kind of had conflicted thoughts because, like, on the one hand, like, Becky Hammon had kind of been waiting around forever to kind of see him go ahead and step away, but my Aces needed her, so she's in a good situation. But I kind of wanted to see her make the history, but just best wishes to him because he's kind of had a rough go at life the last couple of years. So if he does, like, he has nothing else to prove, I would go ahead and pack it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a new bird watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to your vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
Relax.
a vineyard. Yeah, relax.
Relax.
Yeah. He feels very tense to me as a person, as a fellow tense person. I can always identify someone who is trying to pretend everything is relaxed, but it's actually like hyper tense, just all the time, clenching. The other thing about the Spurs when they released Gallinari is that the one player who's still on their roster who's over 30 is Doug McDermott. So like they're all the way in the rebuild.
Buckets? Oh wow.
Doug
All the
McDermott.
way.
I just saw a video of him at Venice Beach in Birkenstocks. He was just walking around doing nothing. Then he just pulls up to the Venice Beach courts and shoots from behind the bleachers and just drains it. And then just kept walking. It's like, what? What in the world?
That's my dream.
Yeah, that's
my dream. Yeah,
Very
to just
Venice Beach scene.
be able to walk somewhere and like do something cool and then walk away. That's like all I have ever wanted. If I could just have one skill, that's what I'd want. But I would never walk in Venice Beach in Berks. That place is disgusting.
So gross.
Gross. Do not go to Venice Beach barefoot.
No. Oh, God. You will catch something on your feet.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
The DeJounte Trae Young thing, great, amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I love DeJounte, so good. The last thing I had. Oh yeah. Go for it.
Can I throw a Pop conspiracy at you guys?
Please.
So,
Is he wanting to
Popovich.
talk?
Yeah, he's going.
Oh
no.
my God.
Pop is over his long career. He's known for a number of things. Obviously, winning being the first one, but two other ones are like extreme team basketball, right? Kind of ball movement, all of that. The opposite of, say, how maybe somebody like Trae Young plays, and players who get bad when they leave his system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that Pop's not dying, but leaving his last hurrah, the last thing that he wanted to do in the NBA was plummet a heliocentric offense in the Hawks to like leave the stamp of team basketball on the NBA? So he spent the last 3 years like building DeJounte up, creating the perfect situation for his value to be artificially increased, so then he could trade DeJounte to the Hawks and ruin a shoot first, heliocentric offense and then leave the NBA.
By ruin, do you mean like fix, like make it better?
I mean like, so in this scenario, which I actually think this is the biggest flaw in my theory, is DeJounte ends up being really bad.
Oh.
But he's not bad. He's really good. But maybe
Got
Pop
it.
has kind of like created a situation where he seems good, and then when he leaves the Spurs, he loses all his juice.
Right, which has been known to happen.
Which
Then
is-
it happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Honestly, I think he would direct that hate at the Lakers, but they're already terrible. So like he had to like I could see it. He needed a new challenge.
He's
My
like,
enemy
make
is
the
already in the
trade.
dirt. Yeah.
Make the trade. They're already bad. Yeah.
Well,
no,
the
I
Lakers
get that.
didn't the Lakers get a Spurs player too?
Yeah, Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie
Oh,
Walker.
yeah.
So it could be
He's sending
reaching
his-
into the it could go into the Lakers too. Just make us worse.
Wait a minute. Like I'm seeing the vision now. Okay. Okay.
We're convinced. Harry does this every single podcast. He puts out a conspiracy theory and we just go with it. And I like it.
I think that works.
Until you can prove otherwise, it's a forced fact.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that should be our cover art here. You should have everyone making the wind horse.
I was
Were
thinking
you also
Yes.
thinking that? Oh, wow. Okay, I think the plumber's going to be here. I just don't want to be recording while he... You know, have you guys ever had someone
Right.
seen your podcast set up and then they're like, do they think I Twitch? Like, do they... You know, I just don't want the...
Are we talking about if men and women can be friends or like?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. No,
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end it.